Oh, this is going to be a lot of fun. I am very excited tonight to bring on something that I'm always interested in. Angels speaking to the dead, speaking to the future, telling people their futures. And I've always been fascinated with this my whole entire life. I've, as a kid, I even thought about how can people tell the future? How can you speak to the dead? That means you have to know something about the real future of religion and God, Yahweh, whatever you want to call it, the organizing intelligence of the universe. So this will be really interesting. I see a lot of people coming in, and I appreciate you all being here. And I'm hoping that when I bring on our guest, he was mentioning that maybe if anyone has any questions. Hello, Stephen. Shalom to you. Um, he was saying that he would answer any questions as well, which makes it even more interesting. I was hoping that he would, and he said he would. So it's really great. So I'm going to bring on um, a man that has been doing this full time for many, many years. And I got to tell you, when you read the guy's bio, it's just amazing. His name is Artie Hoffman, and he's been a master level psychic medium and spiritual advisor for over 2 decades. And he's helped change the lives of thousands of individuals who have turned to him for answers and guidance. He has a strong faith and a natural intuitive, that's a good word to say, intuitiveness. I'm glad I'm a comic. And this is his intuitive being or behavior is coupled with his ability to provide emotional understanding that makes him a preeminent spiritual therapist with foresight. Boy, is that a great bunch of words. I love it. That's a great bio. And there's much more. And he's here today. And he's a local New Jersey person, and he is a spiritualist and speaks to the dead. So I guess you call him a medium. And he's also a psychic, and he's here tonight. So please welcome someone that I'm looking forward to speak to. His name is Artie Miller. There he is. There we are. Hey, Artie.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm very good. Thanks for coming on. I really appreciate you coming on too.
No, it's my pleasure. I got to tell you something. I have very funny angels. I really do. With a great sense of humor. It's like I'll hear a full joke while things are going on.
Get out of here. Angels are funny?
Yeah. I have very clever, witty, funny angels. So not only are they deep, but it's like when people, and this was one of the funny things while you were talking, about myself. And, a lot of times people say, when did you find out that you could talk to the dead?
That was going to be my first question for you, by the way, of course.
Yeah. And the answer is, if you went out with a few of the girls I went out with, it was like talking to the dead. And that's when it all began.
It's called. That's a great joke, by the way. And by the way, I'm sure any of the girls that you've dated previously are not enjoying that response. Matter of fact, I'm sure that you call them the Dead Sea, and they would probably call you something else.
Yeah, amongst other things.
So this is a good question. I have a million questions for you that I hope I could get out in 45 to 60 minutes, because I could just sit here and kind of hit you on the head with a shovel with millions of questions. But first of all, how did this all begin for you? Because I've read I've read several books on this kind of stuff. And it seems to me that everyone has a different take based on their religious belief and when it began. How did it begin in your life?
Well, there are people who are born with it. That wasn't me. There were people who were clinically dead, where they had a near-death experience and they came back.
Right.
That wasn't me. I had a conversation with God when I was 27. Well, I have a conversation with him all the time, but at this particular time when I was 27, very frustrated in my life. I had everything going right for me in my life. And, nice family. I was married, nice marriage, nice home, nice business, everything's going great. But yet I still wasn't fulfilled. Very frustrated. And I'm having a conversation with God. I said, God, I need answers. I need clear answers. I said, I'm not fulfilled with all what I've got going on in my life. And I said, when you give me the answers, please don't scare the hell out of me. My exact words. And so I go upstairs. I was in my home office downstairs. I go upstairs to my kitchen area. And there's a bunch of, postcards in the junk mail. and I usually just throw it away. And for some reason, I was in the mood to read a bunch of stuff. So I'm going through all my junk mail. And in this one postcard, it said, "How would you like to develop your psychic ability and intuitiveness? Go to the Edgar Casey Foundation for this one weekend seminar."
All right.
So I thought it was pretty interesting. So I asked my wife, who was my wife at the time, I said, "Would you like to go with me to this?" I go, "This looks pretty interesting. You want to go?" She goes, "I'm not interested." She goes, "You can go if you want." She goes, "I don't want to go." So, and I'm thinking either you had it or you didn't. So that's why it intrigued me. It's like, wow, you can learn how to do this. So I went away for that one weekend, and I'm going to make a very long story short.
Sure.
So during, I went to that seminar in Virginia Beach at the Edgar Casey Foundation. And long story short, they taught you how to open up your heart and mind to be 100% unconditional. So there's about 50 of us in one big room. So after they got us in that spiritual mode, they broke us up into groups, and they just share the information with the person you're with. Don't judge it, just share it. And if they don't understand it now, they'll get it later. And most people were telling me how accurate I was with my thoughts and my visions. And I was just shooting at the top of my head. And I was like, holy crap. Wow. I was blown out of the water that this existed, let alone that I could do it. I mean, I've read for over 31,000 people in my life up to date, and I'm still blown away. I'm still blown away by the messages that pull through and the difference that I've made in people's lives.
Well, let me just interject there a second. You said previously, just a moment ago, that you had a conversation with God, which we all have done. We'll say, "God, please tell me what I need to do here," when you have a conflict or something. Obviously, when things are going well, you don't talk to him at all. But when things, there's actually a great joke like that where a guy's pulling into the mall and he's driving in circles going, "Darn, there's no parking. There's no parking." He goes, "God, please, if you just give me a parking space, I will." And then he goes, "Oh, never mind. There's one right there." But you said that when you're actually you were communicating, you said the word communicating. So when you're saying, "God, tell me what I should do," or "Give me a sign," are you really communicating? Because communication takes two ways. It's not one way. It's just speaking to something without a response. It's not really communication, is it? So you consider that. So the mail was the response. The mail was the response that led you on that path.
Yeah, that was God's answer. God answers. See, it's not that I'm more special than anybody else. That I have the gift. We all have an ability to do with what I do. It's not who does God choose to speak to. God speaks to everybody. It's who chooses to listen. So I've learned to develop a rapport, a particular language with the universe. And it took a little time, but they send me thoughts and images into my mind.
Yeah.
And right now, if you could picture what your bedroom looks like, that's how I see.
I see your ex-girlfriend in my bedroom.
You see that?
No,
I saw that too. That's why she's my ex-girlfriend.
But so that's that's interesting the way you just said that, because you're actually answering the questions I'm thinking of. Because I'm thinking my next question to you was going to be just that. How do you see the visions, the feelings, do you see it like a movie screen in front of you? Do you feel it? Do you hear it? Do you see people saying, "Hey, Artie, this is what I need you to do"? How do you see this stuff going by you? And I think every psychic may have a different interpretation of that, because I've read there's all different kinds of
there's all different types of communication, the way you do it.
Yeah.
But because you said what you said before about the ex-girlfriend in the bedroom with you, it reminds me of a very funny joke by Billy Crystal.
Hit me.
He goes, "I walk into the bedroom," he goes, "and I see my best friend in bed with my wife. And I said, 'Murray, I can't believe you're in bed with my wife. Listen, I have to, but you?'"
I love it. I love it.
That's a Billy Crystal joke.
I love it. I love it. It's a great joke.
"What are you doing in bed with my wife?" "I have to, but you?"
I love it. Good joke. It's actually, I never heard it. It's actually a really funny joke too.
So
so
as far as in the way that I see things, um, if you could picture your video getting ready for today when you woke up, the image that you have in your head, or when you were in vacation last time you were in Florida,
mhm,
you know. So
pre-pandemic.
yeah, so for you, it's a recall of images. You're
Yes.
recalling. For me, when I'm reading people, images just come to me out of left field because the angels know that I want to try to communicate to whoever. I'm always off.
Oh,
I'm
really?
always off. I am on. When I say off, I mean my senses as far as that goes. But when I want to turn it on, the angels are there in the moment to give me the messages to deliver to the people.
So, oh,
So
wait. So let me. Oh God, it's like freaks me out to think about this. So you're walking through your life thinking I'm going to eat Chinese food for dinner, and you're doing your normal day, but all of a sudden you stop and you click it on. You say, "I'm wondering. I need to find out something," and it just comes in at that moment.
if I need to know something about somebody or something, then I just go into that trance and then I get
You say
messages.
a trance. You go into a trance. You close your
Yeah,
eyes. Is it
a trance.
spontaneous?
So I'll tell you what it's like for me to go into a trance. So I already know the answer is yes when I'm asking you this situation. So you know what it's like when you're in the passenger seat of a car, you're not the driver,
Yes.
and you're just looking out the window because you don't have to pay attention to the road because hopefully the driver next to you is paying attention.
Yes.
And so you're just looking out the window, you're just gazing.
And you're seeing that come by you in a sense.
And it's just, I'm just gazing. I'm just out there, just like you are when you're in the passenger seat of a car and you're just
Wow.
gazing. It's just, and then all of a sudden, when I want to know something, or if I'm at, and I've done this a couple of times where, say, at the end of a day, so I do what's known as psychic parties, arty
Right.
parties, I call them. So a lot of times I like to go to a restaurant and grab myself a nice steak dinner. So if I see a cute girl sitting at the bar or something, I'll
Right.
look at her and I'll say, all right, give me something. The spiritual world, just give me something. And I get something. And then I could just go right up to them. I says, by the way,
Boy,
I
boy.
can tell that you're, going through this and you're going through that and da 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 da. And they go, oh my God, how did you know?
What a way to pick up women. Oh, boy, my
Yeah,
goodness.
it's better than Match.com. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, sure. And by the way, you know which ones to stay away from.
That's right. Absolutely.
You're like, this one's crazy. I'm not going to talk to that girl while I'm eating my French fries.
Or this one's really crazy. I want to hook up with her.
Exactly. Even more so, right? You know what she's
That's
into.
no,
So,
but I don't, to be honest with you, I mean, seriously, I mean, I told you how many people, I read thousands of people. And I could honestly say probably about 97% of my 95% of my clients are women. And so, I mean, yeah, the opportunities are there, but I have to remember that all of them are there
of course,
to to get information from me.
of course, yeah.
I'm not there to try to gawk or to try to be a dog or anything like that.
I'm not
Um,
discounting. I'm not discounting your profession in that respect at all. But
yeah,
I think the
I mean, it's
explanation.
a perk and a benefit because, like, all my closest friends, and I only have very few close friends, as I would say, all comes from the people I've read, And but I'm very, I don't know, I just, I'm more of a loner than I am being around. Even though I'm a people person, I am. But yet I also enjoy my private time. And so I have my friends who I schmooze with, who I hang out with, and countless acquaintances. But like I said, when I'm doing my job, well, it's not even a job, but when I'm doing my readings, I just go, all right, who's next? Who's next? And even no matter how handsome they are, no matter how pretty they are, no matter how much money they have, no matter, it makes no difference, the social level or status or looks or anything. Um, but I mean, to be honest with you, that's how I meet a lot of my girlfriends. And my last Yes, 2 wives, and my serious girlfriend was from readings. Um, but people say, well, then if you were that good of a psychic,
Why did you
did
marry?
you
Yeah,
know
why
that
did you
you
get
weren't
married?
going to
Yeah.
last? I said I
Because you're
was a
human
psychic.
too.
I said I was a psychic. I didn't say I was a good psychic.
You're human. You're a human being, and
I'm a
you're
human
perfect.
being.
I think your explanation though of being sitting in the car and looking out the window at that scene go by is a great analogy because I'm always wondering what you see through your eyeballs. So I find that pretty interesting. Um,
Well, a lot of times, believe it or not, how I get a lot of messages, it's not like I tell people, all right, just send me an image, just send me. I just get, all right, however way you see fit. A lot of times I get messages in songs. So I'll hear songs in my head. Whatever that song is about, that's what's going on with that person.
Now, how do you know the separation between self-talk and angelic intervention? How can you tell? Or I mean, is there a difference? Like I woke up this morning at like 9:30 in my mind and my mind wouldn't stop talking to me. I was like, hey, shut up. I'm trying to sleep. It's telling me what to do. And we need to do this today. And I'm like, shh, yeah, I got it. You got to fix this. And I'm like, shut up. I'm going to sleep. How do you know it's not self, the mind, the ego, all of
No,
that?
that part is the self and the ego, and that's just you. Your brain doesn't shut up. Your brain doesn't shut off. That's you personally, and a lot of people do that. It's just like they got so much on their mind, they're running and running and running. It's not the spirit that's just talking to you. That's your ego. That's your mind, and that's just saying,
Different.
"Oh, I got to do this. I got to do this," and and then you start thinking about past conversations or what it's going to be like for tomorrow with this person. Blah 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 blah. That's you really over analyzing and thinking, and not shutting your brain down.
So what's the difference that between that and what you're feeling with that looking out the window feeling?
Um,
I'm
well,
trying to
I'll give you an.
understand.
All right, put it this way: I can't read for close friends and family
Uh-huh.
because I don't know. I can't read for myself. I have to go to friends who do, because I don't know if it's coming through my ego or if it's coming through spiritually. Is it
Mhm.
because that's what I want to hear, or this is what they're really telling me? So, it's hard to differentiate when you're emotionally connected to the outcome.
Of course, and I felt the same way as a comedian performer. When I had family come, they really kind of know who I am, and it's like I feel weird with them being in the front row. I never wanted to tape a special or something with people I know that it's like you know me differently. It doesn't really. It's kind of like you can't
It's
quote.
totally different.
Yeah, I
There's
get that.
already there's already a prejudgment there.
Now,
And you being empathic, sensitive as you are, you're very sensitive. It's like you pick up on it, and it's like, so you're trying to project it to the audience, but yet that they know that, oh, I know this joke, or that's funny. It's like you're over analyzing and thinking too much when somebody who is right there, you know. So
I have
the
someone
smart
ask
thing
a
is to do.
question here. I don't know if you want to answer this question. This is kind of I don't like this kind of a question, but you could see it from Sunny
I
Mac.
can't I can't see it. You have to read it because my eyesight stinks.
Sure. It says, can you please give me your honest opinion on Teresa Caputo? I, for one, have negative feelings about her and her ex-husband, Larry. I'm not asking you to talk, of course, negatively about anybody or anything, but he's asking you, saying that he has negative feelings about her. I don't know what that means, whatever that means.
Well, she is exceptionally talented, no doubt,
Mhm.
and she's got a personality and a half, which is fantastic.
Character.
Um, a character. As far as how people deal with their personal life, I don't believe. I hate reality TV.
Hmm.
You know, when you are, I don't want to do reality TV. I would never do a reality TV. I feel like, and excuse me for saying this, and I apologize for the person who asked that question. That's their personal life, and I don't think it's a good show when or complimentary to anybody who's watching other people do their life. Do your own life. Do what makes you happy. Do what interests you, rather than watching other people doing their life. So it's like, who are we to judge? Because you don't know what it's like being in their shoes. Can you imagine being married to someone like her? And I'm not taking anything away from her,
Sure.
but when you have a partner who's always in the spotlight, who's always doing the gift, who's all, it's always about them, or most of the time, whether you like it or not. So it's not like her husband, it's like Larry, you know. No, Larry is Teresa's husband. Larry isn't just Larry. Larry is only Larry in his own personal life
Sure.
with his coworkers or his family or close friends. But to the whole public, he is Teresa's husband. And that's a tough nugget to bite. And
Absolutely.
that goes with any celebrity that you might be connected to, So that's why it's important to have a private life besides. But when you put your private life out there on camera, you're out there to be judged by everybody,
Right.
So,
And
and it's,
I've done
I
it
mean,
too.
granted, you're putting yourself out there and it's not fair, but yet you called for it.
Well,
So everyone's going to be judgmental about this, that, or the other thing. But I don't know. I mean, do I think she's very talented? Yes. Do I know her personally? Personally, no. So I mean, I
I know
wish
it's
you well.
hard,
Like I don't.
it's hard to make a judgment about other people that way too, and you didn't even know them. But I mean, I find I've been on a couple of reality shows myself, and honestly, that I find there's no reality in reality shows. It's all like, all right, do it again, go stand here, argue with that guy, play this, do that, or they just take a bunch of information about you that you said at different times and intersplice it into areas that shouldn't even be in. It happened to me once on America's Got Talent. So there's no reality in reality television, in my opinion, to begin with. I also have another friend of mine here who's a great comedian. Asked a question. Of course, he wants to know where we can get you from. So I'm going to just put that up right here. This is Artie's website for personal readings. Do you do readings that are on the phone or
Yeah,
just in person?
you could also email me artiehoffman@gmail,
I have that right
and
here.
and then yeah, and then also my phone number.
That's at the bottom of the screen as well. I just got that strolling across right now.
And do you have my 1-900 number? I'm only
No,
kidding.
I didn't get that far. How much
Just kidding.
research can one man do? You're too busy talking to angels. I had somebody else had another comment here. There's so many. My friend, this is a friend of mine, Melvin George. Now, Melvin George said, "I need a reading." Melvin George is actually a wonderful stand-up comedian as well, from northern New Jersey. His wife has a wonderful cake company. She started in her kitchen, and he had sent me cakes to my house, and they are fantastic. So if he needed a reading, how would we go about giving Melvin? He would just call or email you, or
Yeah, exactly. And then we just set up an appointment, and I just reach over the phone. I've read people around the world over the phone or Skype or whatever. I don't need to physically be with somebody to be able to read them. I just need the sound of their voice. Or if I'm say say if I'm reading somebody and they want to know about their kids or their lover or whoever, their parent, whatever, all you have to do is mention their name to me, and I could zero in on that person. But just don't challenge me.
of
Otherwise you'll
course,
ruin the reading. It's like I'm giving you information, and sometimes it's like I'll give you a stupid analogy, a metaphor, whatever you want to call it. So anyway, so I'm with this one lady, and I said, "All right, who's Joe?" And she goes, "Well, that's a common name." Like she's challenging. And I said, "Well, who's?" I said, "You don't know Joe?" She goes, "Well, that's my son." I go, "Then what the hell you challenging me? But don't name him Joe, you jackass." Well, that's a common name. Well, you're a common jackass. What do you want me to tell you? It's just like, are you kidding me? But I'm telling you, I get people like this. Most people aren't. Most people aren't. Most people are gracious, and they. So I think I might be talking about your wife. Instead, I might be talking about your sister.
right?
I might be talking about your daughter. But the feelings and the energy that I'm getting is definitely there. Somebody who's dealing with depression, and somebody who says one thing and does the other. And it's like, no matter what you say, you're always wrong. And it's like, oh my God, that's my daughter. That's not my wife. That's my daughter,
Right.
whatever it is. So it's like, all right, so that's the energy I'm picking up on. So I pick up on scenarios, not always just the person. So I'll say to you, all right, so if you want to communicate, say to dead people, which in reality, nobody's ever dead, believe it or not.
That's what I wanted to talk to you
You're
about next. You are reading my mind, by the way, because that's where I'm going next. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
so, so the soul is who you are. The body you're in, the body right now that you have is not you. Your soul is who you are, and
Thank God.
your soul is expressing itself using your body. And so once the body dies, the soul goes, I'm out of here. And it takes on a different dimension. So when you die, so you're just not in the same physical form as everybody else on this plane knows you as. But you yourself, you're still alive. Your soul is you. And it just say, all right, I'm finished with this body. Time to leave.
I could see
You
that.
know,
What is your religious beliefs? Are you into any particular group of religion?
I'm Artie Hoffman, Jew with a clue.
uh, I'm saying that, like,
So,
would you
but I'm
believe in the
very
Bible? Of
spiritual.
it?
My brothers, and most of my family are more religious. I'm very spiritual. I connect with God. I connect with the angels. Um, I came from a great, wonderful, conservative Jewish background with my family through and through. But as I started getting older, and as I really started paying attention to the Bible when I'm going to services, and I didn't agree with everything that was there, but yet I still had a lot of love and appreciation for God and for my religion, the
I see.
traditions and the culture.
A friend of
You
mine
can't beat it.
is saying, "What's Artie's thoughts on reincarnation?"
Yeah, it does exist. There is life after life after life. You've been here many times before. Most of us have been here many times before. So, and for
And the
all those,
purpose of this. What is the purpose of this returning over and over again?
so that we could spiritually grow. All right. So when you're in the spiritual world, there's like 7 different
Hmm.
levels of heaven. All right. And so our goal as a spirit, when we're on the other side, our ultimate goal is to get to that highest place where Jesus is, Moses, Abraham, where all those high priestess are, you know.
So,
So we go through these challenges in life. Uh, we come to life to learn about forgiveness, blind faith, patience,
pandemic.
unconditional love, pandemic. So we go through these challenges. And the funny thing is, before we're born, we are with our angels. Before we're born, and we get to pick all the challenges that we're going to be dealing with in this lifetime. We pick our parents. We already know how we're going to die and when we're going to die because we picked it.
Really?
And
Wow.
and the
Wow.
only thing that's not picked is when somebody commits suicide. That's never in the plan. That means, so here's the situation. So God says to you, all right, I love you unconditionally. You know that. And I give you free will to do with whatever you want. And I will still love you. And I will not stop you from doing whatever you want. However, the catch is this: you are responsible for all the actions that you create in your lifetime, in this lifetime. You're responsible. And that's where karma comes in. God doesn't punish anybody, but there is always a cause and effect. So whatever you put out, you will receive. So there are certain past karmic situations that you've created in your previous lives that you carry into this life, that now you have to create balance. And I'll give you an example. If you were to kill somebody in this lifetime, whether it be in this lifetime or the next lifetime, you will come back as the victim of what you've created
Oh my goodness,
because we
that's
need
terrific to think about.
because we need to experience the cause and effect of what we give to other people. And that's why in the religious aspect, which isn't really taken too deeply, only logically,
Right.
they say, "Oh, we are all one," or "Love thy brother, love thy neighbor as you would yourself," because that's true. If you hurt someone, you're hurting yourself. If you help someone, you're helping yourself. You're literally investing in your own soul
I
whenever you
kind of see
invest
that. Isn't that
in
I
humanity.
see the world working that way, Artie. I noticed that like the old sayings, the hand that gives gets and all that kind of stuff. I noticed that too
It's
as
true.
yeah, I definitely believe in that. I actually, I don't think you should ever say when people ask you to favors or if they could do something or you could be kind. I think it's always a great thing to do. Not because the return, but because it's innate. It should be innate in your human behavior and ability to do so. But I do notice that it comes back. It does come back, and it doesn't come back in the same ways that we throw it out.
And a lot of times we think that people who are negative, and there's a lot of negativity out there,
Mhm.
who seem to live high off the hog. All right, the wealthiest people, the negative people, whatever. You think that, oh man, they got life by the balls. They got, everything's going their way, and they always get away with everything, and they have such a good life, and I'm so struggling, blah 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 blah. But if you look at it, do they really have it that great? So a
Right.
lot of times those people who are real jerks or you don't appreciate as a person, you could say, well, would you rather be them and have what they have? Or would you rather be yourself and be the kind of person you are and have what you have, even though you might not have as much as them, or they travel more, or they have more money, or whatever? But who would you rather be?
I'd
And
rather
so a
try
lot of
it for a
people,
little while.
yeah, that's right.
Just let try it
I
for a
hear,
little while. As a matter of fact, I know a lot of my friends that became very successful. Not all of them, but a lot of them became very successful. And I've known a lot of performers and things that crash and burn with the success. And it's almost like everything that you own owns you in the end anyway. You really don't. There's nothing that you get to keep in this life. I realize that, and so having a bigger television and a newer car doesn't really matter. But it seems like it's important in certain times of your life until you grow and get old and have wisdom. I just love it when I see somebody that's very young that has that mentality. Not that he's a lazy person, doesn't want to work, but a person that realizes I don't need to be possessed. I need to be free, in a sense, if you will. I know
so
what you're talking.
I know what you're talking about. The happiest people in the world aren't the people who have the most. It's the people who need the least to be
Oh, that's
happy.
a wonderful saying. The need, the least, not that want or the need. Yeah, that's wonderful.
It's
Yeah.
nice to, hey, listen, I'd love to have nice things. I do. I would love to travel the world more, uh, you know, and I would love to have more of a material life. I would love to have the beach on the house, that the the house on the beach. I would love to have all that. But you want to know something? You know what my blessing is? I have friends who have that, and they love to invite me, and I love to go.
Right. It's all good. It's all
so,
good.
but I love my life. I really do. I'm very frustrated over the last few months. I've been ginormously
Sure.
angry and frustrated with a lot of situations. But after I yell and scream to God, and I scream and yell, um, I say thank you. I don't want you to think that I don't appreciate all the blessings
You're
in my
human.
life.
What you're saying is you're a human being, and you react with anger. Emotions overwhelm us sometimes. I mean, I try to be normal and level all the time, and every now and then, your behavior slips out of control because you're human.
Right?
And you step
Yes.
on the
Yes.
tack, and you're like, "Oh, damn!" It hurts. And you punch the wall, or you become something that you're normally not.
I need to express something to you for your audience intuitively, a very important message,
Okay,
because there's a few people who need to hear what I'm about to say. And
hit us.
it's going off track a little bit. Okay? Now people who are in hapless marriages, who aren't happy in their marriage. All right? So a lot of times people will say, well, listen, I made a vow, or it would be against my religion if I got a divorce or whatever. So when you say the words, according to the physical world, according to religion,
Right.
and you said your vows to God and you said your vows to your partner, till death do us part, I made
Hmm.
a vow.
That's some vow. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, the real meaning, believe it or not, there's a different twist to those words, which are just as true, which is more true than the meaning of what I
Uh-huh.
just said from a religious standpoint. From a spiritual standpoint, the meaning behind the words, till death do you part, is this: till death do us part, until if one of our hearts die in the relationship, till death
Hmm.
do us part. Not
Ah,
the
interesting.
physical body,
Never thought about
not the
that.
physical body. When your heart dies, if your heart was to die in the relationship. Because who you were at 20 or 30 years old, some of us teens, there's no guarantee that at that age you're going to grow and mature at the same level as your partner as you get older. One partner wants to stay the same, the other partner
Yes.
wants to grow.
And that
The
happens
other
in many
partner,
people's relationships over time. That happens in many, like most people, they get young, the young get married and they change as people as they get older. Of course, very common.
right? And they feel guilty because, oh, it's against my religion, or everyone's going to be
Sure, sure.
disappointed, or all these other expectations. Listen, they haven't walked a mile in your shoes, and
Right.
God wants you to be happy. So it's
Now,
like,
what about you?
are you
You
going
said
to stay with the same teacher in grade school as you are in junior high and high school? No, you switch teachers. So you switch people. Now, if you're blessed, if you're really blessed, where you and your partner at the beginning of life could grow with each other as life moves on, fantastic. I'm all about monogamy. I'm all about long-term relationships. I'm all about relationships, but only if you're happy. Listen, we all go through hard times in our relationships,
hmm
given. But when your partner and you could no longer see eye to eye, or you're not compromising with each other, or you're trying to change the other person to be how you want them to be,
right, which
you're no
everyone's
longer
guilty of.
accepting them. You're no longer accepting them for who they are. Then know when the show is over. And now
Right.
it's time to bow out gracefully so that you can at least be more comfortable within yourself until you meet someone else, or that you can grow with someone else at this point.
So, Artie, is there a plan then? Because let's say a couple gets together and they young and they get married, and maybe later on they don't get along anymore in the future. Uh, but maybe they've had children, and maybe those children were here for a reason. Maybe the reason for them getting to come together was to produce these children to have other lives.
100%
So, is
correct.
there a plan that's happening in this circle of life? Is that it's all
100% correct.
determined? So there is a
That
predetermination.
right. It's there are things what's known as free will, and then there are certain things that's it's written in stone. Come hell to high water, you're going to experience certain experiences in life, and it's different for every person. I got to share with you a funny joke, and you're allowed to steal this one. Okay, you could steal this one on stage. This is a cute joke. So there's this old Jewish couple, and they've been married for 50 years, and they all they do is bicker back and forth, back and forth. I mean, that's their style. And so now it's past 50 years, and the wife goes to her husband. She goes, Marty, that's it. I'm sick and tired of looking at you. I'm tired of arguing with you. I can't stand being with you. That's it. Even after all these years, I want a divorce. I want you to get your bags, pack your things, and get out of here. Don't argue with me. Just do it. So anyway, the old Jewish guy, he schleps. He schleps across the room. He grabs his old suitcase. He goes in the drawer and he's packing his suitcase. He's walking across the living room. He's about to go through the door. And right before he goes through the door, the wife goes and be and and when you die, I hope you die a slow and painful death. And he turns around and he goes, now you're asking me to stay?
Say that is a great joke. As well, actually, I've seen people tell that kind of joke nasty, like I hope you die, and I hope, and then all of a sudden it's that punch. It's a very, very funny joke. Hey, which leads me to believe this is another thing that's interesting to me too. So you're saying there's a predetermination of the life that we have. You're saying that there's that
There are
that
certain things you're going to experience come hell to hot water. So
and
you know what deja vu is, right?
yeah, I get that all the time. Yeah.
deja vu. I could have sworn we had this conversation. I could have sworn I've been
Sure.
here. It's like I know this house, and even though I've never been here, but I know this house, and I know, because when you're in the spiritual world, before you enter into this life, there were certain things that you're already going to experience. So you had an instant memory of something that you remembered that was going to happen in this lifetime.
I see. What about the? You ever heard the thing called the simulation universe theory, where we believe that we live in basically a simulation, that our brains are put into this fishbowl, if you will, that everything around us is being created in front of our eyes as we move forward and disappearing behind us, and that you could actually see a simulation in a simulation in a simulation, and I wonder how that plays into this idea of God giving us a spirit and coming in and out. You have any knowledge of that, or ever heard of that theory before?
I have vaguely, but that's that's something that just can't even be discussed now, only because that would take long conversations to
Of course.
really get to. It's so deep what you said. I understand it, but it's
Plus, we have to
such a.
smoke pot, right? We'd have to be smoking pot to be.
Exactly. Lucy in the Sky with diamonds all the way.
Now, what about this? Ghosts. I'm fascinated by ghosts, and I have my own belief system. I've read like a lot of books on this stuff, and I have my own belief system based on, I guess, a collective group of things I've heard over time. And what's interesting is about belief systems. It's very strange beliefs, because beliefs are given to you, and you don't know unless you experience something directly. I know if I put my hand on the stove, I'll burn it, but
I'm going to share something with you.
Sure.
And this is something from Deepak Chopra, if you know who he is.
I've read his books. Yeah. Brilliant guy.
All right. Brilliant guy, spiritual and stuff. He said, spirituality is your own personal experience. Religion is other people's experiences.
Yeah, that's a great, and as a comic, I appreciate the writing of that. I think that's a very clever writing. But
it's true. Religion is based on other people's experiences, and spirituality is based on your own experiences. Religion has lots of rules and control and boundaries. Spirituality, love, has no boundaries. Life is literally what you make of it. And the reason why people won't move out of their horrific situation in life is because they grow comfortable in the uncomfortableness. There's a bunch of things. People have what's known as golden handcuffs when it comes to a job or a relationship.
Velvet handcuffs, yeah.
Velvet handcuffs, golden handcuffs, I call them. That's where the benefits are just good enough to keep you there, even though you hate waking up to it every day. Golden handcuffs.
I heard, I was having dinner with Jay Johnson, the ventriloquist from the old the 70s sitcom Soap. And he's the first time when we were talking about showbiz, about working corporate events, and he said it's velvet handcuffs. And I was like, what? I never heard the term before, but it makes so much sense that you're bound by something comfortable, and yet you don't want to get away from it. It's a very interesting concept. But
the thing is that people are afraid of transition. People are afraid to go into the unknown of the new.
Change is painful.
And it's painful, and you have to give up a lot of conveniences that you've been very comfortable with in this relationship or job or situation. So, well, that means I won't have as much money, or I won't know these people, or I might be judged, or I love these family members or friends who I won't be a part of anymore. Or I have to give up the yacht or the mates or whatever.
Well, tell me though, Artie, what do you think about the ghost thing? Because when people see ghosts or hear them or feel them, or you see telekinesis type powers, or what do you consider that to be from your perspective?
Well, it's all real. I mean, it really is. It's spirit. It's,
are there evil spirits?
There's so many different. There's evil spirits. There's wonderful spirits. There's beautiful spirits. There's ugly spirits. You have all kinds.
So it's just like
God, the thing is, exactly. The thing is, the reason why a lot of people lose faith, unfortunately, in God or angels, is because evil does exist. And evil, a lot of times, will present itself very powerfully, very strong. Just because negative and evil exists doesn't mean God and angels don't exist. They do exist. But because people go through heartache, it is your blind faith. It is your love for God, love for the angels. It's your blind faith that gets you through those hard times. And when you give up, that's when you feel like you're alone, and that's when you feel powerless. But God and your angels have never left you. All you have to do is
Interesting.
literally ask for their help, ask for their
That's
signs.
interesting. I read a book years ago in the '80s from Dr. Wayne Dyer, and it was about spiritual things, and I
Yeah,
remember him
wonderful
saying,
man.
yeah, I remember him saying in that book, it was a whole chapter on that you had to have faith in order to experience a miracle. Like, in other words, miracles don't happen to people that are not faithful. The faith is the thing that creates the ability to experience a miracle. And I found that to be a fascinating concept, and it's kind of
I don't
pragmatic.
100% agree with that,
Hmm.
because God loves everybody unconditionally. And just because you don't have faith doesn't mean miracles still can't happen for you. Can you promote it to be more strong in your life? Yes. Can you promote it to be more consistent in your life? Yes. But it doesn't mean that it won't happen simply because you don't have faith. That's like saying you have two kids. One is the angel. One went to college, became a doctor,
Right.
successful, loving. The other one ended up in jail for God knows what reason. But guess what? As a parent, you still love them both unconditionally.
Of
You
course.
appreciate the good one more, but as a parent, you still love the kid who's a pain in the ass. But God is the same way. Regardless of all the children of the world, all the people of the world, God loves everyone truly unconditionally. But
Equally.
everyone still has to go through their lessons in life.
That's fantastic. Even the way you said it is pretty fantastic. And you know what I'm thinking? Growing up with Jewish parents, probably in Brooklyn, right?
Uh, New Jersey, Central Jersey, but you're
That's
close.
New Jersey. So, do you have any brothers or sisters? I could just see Mrs. Hoffman and Mr. Hoffman back in the day going, "This is my son. He's a doctor. That's the other one over there. She went to college. She's going to be, oh, there, he talks to angels." Right?
He talks to dead people. People say, "Why do you talk to dead people?" Because they pay more. That's why.
Yeah. So,
So no, but I was definitely the black sheep of the family growing up in a
seriously.
Jewish family, bar none. I was the black sheep, but I was the one who both my brothers are my two older brothers and I, we get along great, and we're
Uh-huh.
so different, but we have a mutual love and respect for one another, and we're there for each other all the time. But I am so different than everybody else. But it's like they grew up. They both, and my parents and my two brothers, they've both been with the same partner and have beautiful families and manifest. And there was nothing more in the world. I would love to have that, but it wasn't in my cards. But yet
Right.
I'm the one who goes through trials and tribulations with relationships. But yet I'm the one who also heals thousands of people and helps thousands of people. It's not
And
me.
you're doing it
It's
one at
it's
a
it's
time.
the love and the power. It's the love and the power of God and the angels that I am very blessed through their love that I'm
And
able to do with what I'm
you're
doing.
doing this one at a time. It's not like you're doing this to a group of people all at once. You're doing individual one-on-one, and so you can't even get the accolades, even doing thousands of people that you would if there's 100 people in a room, and you said, "Here's the pill to take to get rid of the of COVID." You think that it's
Well,
like all
yeah.
at once.
I do shows. I do shows and I entertain. So,
Okay,
like right now, you and I, we're talking about it, and we say our shtick, we say our fun about it. It's a serious topic, but yet there's humor in everything.
of
So
course.
sometimes you just gotta laugh. You have to laugh
Let me
about it.
let me ask you this, because I only have 10 minutes left for you, and it's gone by 50 minutes like that, and I'm sad to say, but a friend of mine just put something here here it is in the chat, and he said, oh, wrong one. He said that here it is. I remember the book you gave me, John, As Alive, So Dead. So a friend of mine, his dad had passed away, and I had just read this book by a woman named, and she's a medium. Matter of fact, they based the medium show off of this woman. Apparently, she lives in Ohio. Her name is MarianneGhostbuster.com, I believe. I read this book, So Alive, As Alive, So Dead. In this book, this woman claimed that since she was a little girl, that she was able to see dead people very easily, and thought it was very common and not normal until people would
Yeah,
think
she
it should be
thought
not.
everybody could do it.
But she claimed that she would get hired to go to funerals with her grandmother and go to, and sit near a casket and be able to speak and communicate with the dead person that was in the casket. And at the end of it, open up a light and send them in to the next place, into this light. Create the light and send them in. I find that to be unbelievably fascinating to hear that. And I don't know if it's true or not, but I would like to believe that, which means that there's such a thing as earthbound spirits that get caught here and don't want to go into
Yes.
light. And there's ones
Yes.
that need to be sent into the light. What is the deal with the light? What is the deal with this? And
The
have
light
you,
is the love. The light is moving on into God's country. I mean, well, God's country is everywhere, but to be in that more heavenly bliss, it's like there's a difference between going to the Bronx and going to Hawaii. We're still on Earth. It's just what part of Earth are you experiencing? And what part of Earth is the people in the islands or Fiji experiencing? So there is heaven on Earth and there is hell on Earth. So it's the same thing on the other side. So it's like, here, let me take you out of the projects and move you into Hawaii is
I
basically
see.
what.
And I
And
read also,
I don't believe in purgatory.
you do not believe in that.
I
That's a
don't.
Christian
No,
thing, is
not
it?
at all.
It's a Christian
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
What
they
about,
created the boogeyman.
I read a book. I read really took me for a loop. I was reading on the internet. There was a web page. I think it was called "Don't Go Into the Light." Okay, and this was a bizarre conspiracy theory. They claimed that when you die and you see the light is only a way to get you in and out and through again as a reincarnation. It's a circle. If you don't go into the light, you can stay here and grow in a different way. They would this thing claimed don't go into the light, and there was all these reasons why you shouldn't go into it because I don't know. There's some sort of aliens or something that we're actually harvesting and putting us back in here to feed off of our emotions, something to that effect. It was demigod, I believe it was called, the demiurge. The demiurge. Thank you. That's what it was. Thank you. I'm talking to myself. Thank you. That's what it was. Are you familiar with the demiurge?
Well, I know who Demi Moore is, but but no, as far as that concept, I can't wrap my head around it. I understood logically what you said,
Yeah.
but again, it's like reading the Bible. I don't believe everything I hear and see. I know what feels right in my heart. So I'll give you an example. People say to me, like it just happened last week. People say to me, "Oh, Art, if you don't," because they think that what I do is devil's work. And I said, well, because of their religion or because of you're going against God. I said, no, I'm not. He gave me the gift. And I said, if you're saying what I do is devil's work, then I need to shake his hands and thank him because I've helped heal thousands of people. So it's all what your intentions are behind your actions is what makes something right or wrong. So this guy said to me, he goes, all right, well, if you don't believe in Jesus, if you don't follow Jesus, you're never going to get into heaven. I said, well, actually, I guess I do follow Jesus because he was born Jewish and I'm born Jewish. So I guess I am on the right path. And I
Gotcha.
said, and how come you're not Jewish? If he was Jewish, the guy you prayed to, how come you're not Jewish? And then I said it jokingly. I mean it, but it's jokingly. But of course, he went in a whole rampage about blah, 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 blah. But
Yeah.
you know
And
what?
people think
Whatever
it's an
feels
evil
right
thing.
in your heart, whatever feels right in your heart, there's no right or wrong. If it's within the best of intentions and you have a love for God, you have a love for your fellow man, and also a love for yourself, whatever brings you there, then that's the right religion for you. You
I
don't
see.
have to be that one and only.
Real quick,
You
what
know,
do you think about Satanists or people that are into devil worshiping or black arts, if you will? What do you believe? What do you think about that?
I really don't give them much energy. It's
You don't
just
think?
something.
Uh-huh.
Just it exists. Do I, it 100% exists, but I don't give it energy. I don't, they're totally anti God, anti spiritual, anti, it's extremely, people who I believe who have sold their souls. People have sold their souls to the devil to get maybe monetarily what they want.
And how
I
do we
was put in that
cultivate that?
position.
How do we
Huh?
cultivate our souls? What's the cultivation of a soul?
Again, that's a whole nother topic.
It's a big
That, I
one.
mean, not that I'm denying you. I mean, but I can't do it justice. That, like those two other questions you asked and that question, big, wonderful questions. It really is. But that is such a whole other topic in itself. Um, it's just like, well,
It's,
what do you think about chocolate? Well, what do you
it's
think
like it's
about
an hour.
vanilla? Or what do
Yeah,
you
it's
think?
an hour show.
It,
I mean, well, I'm
Yeah,
almost.
and it's
I'm at
like
the end here.
it's a negative energy. It's a negative energy that I just don't personally appreciate, believe in, like. It's negative feelings.
Can you
It's
feel
very
negative energy
self-serving.
as you walk around
Huh?
people? Can you feel people as you walk through a restaurant or a mall? Can you feel like,
Oh
oof,
yeah,
I gotta stay away
I
from
could
that?
feel it most of the time. Most of the time, I purposely don't feel it because I protect myself. So, like when I'm walking around in the malls or restaurants or in the public, I'm just like everybody else. I'm not picking up on everyone else's energy because I don't want to. I don't
I
need
see.
to be in that position. When I need to
Okay.
be turned on for a benefit or a purpose, then yes. But other than that, I got to protect myself. Otherwise, I have friends that are on 24/7 and they deal with depression because they're picking up on everybody else's crap,
They're
on
empathic.
everybody
Yeah.
else's karmic. They were so empathic, and I choose not to do that. It's like, why?
Artie, in the
You
last
know?
couple of minutes that I have here with you, I like because we actually neglected to bring this up. You have a book out, and I'm going to bring this up on the screen here, and
Okay.
that is called Angels and Answers. And what can we expect by purchasing this wonderful book by you?
You will think that I wrote this book, and I kid you not, specifically for you. It is going to hit home on your life, on your personal life and life itself. You're going to have a lot of aha moments. And what I'm mostly proud of is that I break it down so that everyone could understand exactly what it is I'm talking about. It's not like a lawyer talking to a lawyer in their lingo or a mechanic talking to their mechanic
Real
in
people. Okay.
lingo. I break it down so that everyone could, I want everyone to understand the meaning of true life, spirituality. I have of God, angels. I have 12 different saints and angels in there that I also bring to the table in this book. And it explains what their purpose and beauty and sinew is, and to help you get through certain times of your life. So a lot of us go through our hard times. So there's specific angels and saints that you can go to help you get through your times.
Wow.
And and it and there's a couple of personal stories in there that you'll appreciate. And but I'm not saying it because I wrote the book, but it people have bought more than one book because it made such an impact on their life that they literally bought lots of books just to hand out to the friends and family because they just are so
Wow.
thrilled about it. They just want to help change everyone else's life for the better.
It's funny you mention that because my favorite book is by Khalil Gibran, The Prophet. And I've taken that book and given it out as a gift for holidays and stuff to people so many times. It's my favorite book. I'll just stop and read it every couple of years from head to toe a couple of times. And then I think it's just valuable information. I love that's my favorite book.
The one book that helped change my life forever was written by Neil Donald Walsh. He wrote many great books,
Mhm.
but it's Conversations with God, Volume One.
I
There's
remember
Volume Two
that
and
book.
Volume Three. There's Volume Two and Volume Three. Volume Two, I don't think is nearly as good as Volume One. Volume Three is better than two, but not as good as one, but still valuable info. But Conversations with God by Neil
Okay.
Donald Walsh, Volume One,
I'm going to check it out.
amazing book.
So Artie, this has been a pleasure, and hopefully like you'll come back someday and we'll do this again, and we'll maybe could take some readings from people because that's the thing everybody really wants. They want the free reading. Tell me about this. Tell me about that. Once again, your
Oh,
book
let me
is
tell you something really quick. Really quick. Every Sunday night, 6 p.m.
uh-huh.
Eastern time. If you go to my Facebook, Artie Hoffman,
Yes.
Angels and Answers.
Yes.
Facebook, 6 p.m. Eastern time. I do free readings over the air for people around the world and around the
You
country.
do. Okay, and they could go right here, artiehoffman.com, and they
Yep.
could
And there's a
call
link
that.
right to Angels and Answers.
Okay, and you're available. They just leave a message or send you an email, and you're all good.
Yeah, and they could get private reads. I'll explain my rates, and if you want to hook into my Facebook Live show, Sunday night, 6 p.m. Eastern time, I'm telling you, it's entertaining. It's like this, we talk serious topics, but we joke around a lot too.
That's fun. That's great. Well, you've been really informative to me. I wish I could go on for 3 more hours. I just got a cup of coffee and sit here and pick your brain with a pick for an hour
Well, you're
straight.
a great host. You're a great host.
I'm not a host.
Yeah.
I tell dick jokes for a living, but this is just fun.
Okay.
Hey, it was so
Thank
much
you.
fun, but thank you. I'm going to throw this up on YouTube, and I'll have all this stuff for people that they can contact you and go to your page tonight, and hopefully some of these people that are asking us to give a reading will come directly to you. So, but thank you. You've been informative, and I hope people come away with something that they needed at this moment.
I mean, what I do best is help change people's lives forever, and I thank God and the angels for. I honestly don't know crap about anybody, but once the angels and the spirit gives me all the answers, I know everything because they told me.
That's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Well, thank you again, and I hope we sell some books, and I hope I get a whole bunch of people coming over to you in the meantime. You've been a
That's
pleasure.
awesome. Thank
A
you so
delight.
much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you,
Real
Artie. You
pleasure.
stay well, and I'll catch you on the other side.
All right. Have a great holiday weekend.
You too, my friend. Stay well. Healthy.
All right. Stay well. Bye-bye.
Okay.